Welcome to the Sunday morning simulcast with Rom Wills. Your life has meaning. Before I get into that, you'll probably say, oh man, Rom cammed up for this one. This must be something special. No, not really. This is totally impromptu because as you know, I always record my videos early, and I just finished recording something for 3 videos for my Deep Thought channel. So I said, you know what? Instead of setting up, the recording equipment and all of that, I said, let me just go with the flow. And plus, I'm always evolving anyway. So I said, okay, let me see how this do. Let me see how this do. But here's the thing. Your life has meaning. Your life has meaning. Now, for those who follow me on my Deep Thought channel, know I've already talked about this somewhat. And I said, I'm going to follow up on Sunday. But your life has meaning. Every single one of you has meaning. I don't care. Nah, you know what? You're not the big superstar or the big YouTube star or the big football star or, I'm going to talk about football now. No, you're not that. You're not that. But your life is still important. Your life is still important, and you don't know who else's life you're touching. I'm going to tell a story. There was a woman I worked with, and she worked as a clerk. I was working on a government job, and she was a clerk. Very, very humble, very sweet. She wasn't like that spectacular woman or anything. She was small statured and everything, and very good worker. And she had a husband, and her husband, she was an office clerk. Her husband was a janitor. And the thing was, the average person would look at them and say, oh, they don't have anything going on. Oh, what type of clout they have and all. But what they did was work together, and they had 4 children. Now, I remember she told me a story about how her son's principal wanted to meet her. And she was concerned because her kids were good. She knew they didn't do any trouble. Her and her husband were raising good children. The principal of this school wanted to praise her for what she's done with the children. She wanted to praise her because they were very smart children. And I believe all of them went on to go to college and do some good things. I had to find a way to catch up with her, but she was raising them well. Think about the impact. Now, this small statured, quiet, humble woman, she probably doesn't have a social media like that or would be a social media superstar. But look at what she's done, because think about it. Raising 4 children who were going to do greater things. Look, you don't know what it is that you might do. I knew another gentleman when I was at American University, and he just worked in the mailroom. And yeah, he was, taking classes and everything. But I remember he also moonlighted as a cab driver. This is before ride sharing and all of that. And he said, I'd never forget, he had a situation where a young man was going to rob him. But after talking with that young man, the young man didn't rob him and said, I wish I had an uncle like you, And I'm going to be real. He's one of those men who I would say is a mentor, and he had to tell me about myself a couple times. Think about the impact he would have. Not a great position, not a spectacular position, but he had an impact. You never know what you do will have an impact. You never know who might take in your words of kindness. If you look at some poor neighborhoods, every time I seen a poor neighborhood, there was always that one house that was kept clean, and nobody messed with the people living in there. It could have been an older man, older woman, but everybody respected them. You never know. My mother, rest her soul. Remember when we first got to Southeast DC, and before she took sick, mentally sick. She would sponsor Bible study classes on Sundays. And that's how I met my first friends around there. He had all the little kids in the neighborhood coming in for Bible study. Whose lives did she affect? She even helped a young man to read. Let me say it again, help the young man to read. We don't know who our lives touch. And not just even for ourselves, but for other people. We don't know who we're affecting. We don't know. It could be just driving a bus. It could be cleaning up someplace. And yes, of course, yeah, it could be doing something spectacular. It could be getting on YouTube inspiring people. But it could also be working at a lunch counter somewhere and speaking with people. I remember when I was in college, there was a cleaning lady, older cleaning lady. And I remember when she was retiring, all the student body came out for her. And they said how she inspired them, how she was getting them through school. She inspired thousands of young people. So I don't care where you stand in life, no matter who you are, you don't know who your lives are touching. It could be, you know what, it could be just that person that you say, hey, you know what, you saw him fall, you helped him up. And you say, you know what, everything gonna be okay. Or it could be that person who may have gone through a bad breakup or something. Like I remember a woman, I was coming out of a grocery store one time and there was a woman crying. She was crying real bad. I say, hey, you know what, hey, you need help, anything like that? And she just said, you know, just went through a bad breakup. And I said, you know what, I know that's tough. You gotta take it one day at a time. And just how she just said, thank you. She said she needed the words that I said to her. I said a lot more, but you get the point of it. You don't know how your example could be setting something. I'll use another example from myself. When I was a freshman in college, and you know, I'm a studious person, always reading and everything. There was a young man who worked in the cafeteria, and he said, I would always see you reading. So all of a sudden he started reading more. You don't know. You don't know. Every single one of you, there's no exceptions. You might not think, nah, you know what, nah, you're not a social media star or a superstar, celebrity or something. But just every person that you touch is profoundly affected in a positive way, or they can be. You're important. Every single one of you is important. And I know it could have, you can get the temptation or things going well. You think you're invisible, but you're not invisible to everybody, really. Yeah, you might feel you are, but you don't know whose lives. It could be that little, you might be just married with a child, but you're the light that's inspiring that child. You don't know what your job could be something that's inspiring somebody. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing exactly. It's your inspiration, just being a light for anyone is powerful. Your life means something, you know? Your life means something. You know, I've met an autistic child before who could just smile. I remember she was, autism or Down syndrome. And she used to be the little girl, she used to be she was a daughter of a vendor at this vending place I used to vend at on a regular basis, flea market. And she was just the sweetest thing. She would give everybody hugs, and everybody just loved her. Everybody. She brought so much joy to everyone. Her life had meaning. Her life opened up hearts. That's every one of you. Your life has meaning. Now, I'm gonna tell you what, I know it's tough. You know, I had somebody contact me recently and they said divine intervention kept them from ending their own life. This young man said twice that happened. And he actually reached out to me and thanking me for my books. Now, I affected that young man's life, but I told him, I said, you know what? That means God has something greater for you. God has something greater for you. So you go forth and help someone else. And say, your mission is not finished. Everyone, you don't know whose lives you touch, and just being who you being, just walking along. You know, when I was working retail at this department store, I got the story about this woman who was coming in, going through some real bad stuff. Someone at the makeup counter just fixed her up and just changed her mood. Every single one of your lives are important. All right? I want y'all to remember that. I know it's tough. You're going through some stuff. We all go through some stuff. But we got to look at the bright side, and we got to remember All of us are here. All of us, there's no accidents. However you choose to worship God, there's no accidents. You're here for a reason. And understand your life has purpose. All right? So that's all I have for today. I want y'all to keep rising and transforming. Peace and blessings.